Hello, folks. Jenny Weiss, Chad Anders, and not Matt. Today's special guest is your one and only Jesse Rothacker, everybody.
Hello, folks.
Yay.
We're going to talk about the end of Folkland.
Ooh. Surprised it took so long.
Moment of silence. I'm going to pour some out for my homies. We're actually celebrating the beginning of the new Folkland without Matt.
Hey.
Great.
Yeah, major upgrade.
Moving on up. Your deluxe apartment in the sky, Jesse.
Thank you. I've been called that a lot, believe it. That was actually my nickname in college rugby. They call me deluxe apartment in the sky.
I believe it.
Mm-hmm. Yes, I would get it. I grabbed the rugby ball. I juke a couple times. I'd score a try. That's what Australian people call touchdowns because they don't have their own words for things. And then everyone would chant deluxe apartment in the sky. So it was kind of a mouthful. So the next year they changed it to Canuck.
Yeah,
That makes sense.
that makes sense.
Yeah.
Well, for the folks at home, Matt is sick.
Matt has died.
Well,
He's dead. And we are not. So life goes on.
pour one out for Matt real quick, you know?
Yeah. Sorry, Matt.
I'm just going to drink it. I'm going to pour it in my mouth.
Mason jar full of...
What was that? Peach?
We'll talk about that when it's time. It's not time.
Okay.
First day on the pod. Already bossing us around. Okay, Jesse.
Yeah, you've got to be a great leader if you want to survive the end of days, Jen.
That's true. I believe I am. I think I've got what it takes.
As long as you believe it, that'll get you so far.
Yeah.
Waterworld, I feel like I do really well in that kind of
In Waterworld.
environment. All right, so Chad got a comment read. Let's talk about it.
I did.
How's it feel?
Man, I have not submitted very many comments, so I feel bad for those who have submitted a lot. But at the same time, I want to thank this podcast for giving me inspiration to submit that comment about asking what the heck's going on with the weight loss challenge.
Yeah, it was relevant. It's like they just sort of moved on from it. We go and get our hearts invested in this stuff, and then they go and they act like it never happened. And my question for Chad is, how many comments have you had read so far?
That was my first. That was my first.
Oh, wow. Way to go, buddy. Congratulations.
Yeah. Thanks.
So I will just say for the record, I sat next to Chad in Nashville at the live taping, and there were a few people in the audience that would sort of call out funny comments, insightful thoughts. And I have to say, the things I heard Chad call out, I thought they were all at least a 9 out of 10. So Chad was putting out top-notch material. So it's not a slam. That's just a real compliment. Sometimes as a funny person, you hear other people say funny things, and there's a combination of admiration and jealousy. Like one time I was in geometry class in high school, and it was getting so icy that they were going to do an early dismissal. But really, it was just the trees were getting icy. The roads were fine. And this kid, Nate Sample, who was sitting next to us when they were talking about the early dismissal, and the argument was that, like, the trees were icy, but the roads were fine. And Nate's like, we're not going to ride the trees home. And I remember our geometry teacher, Mr. Cower, was very funny. And when he heard that comment, he was like, I wish I would have said that. And anyway, so that's how I felt about a lot of Chad's comments in Nashville. He was very funny, very on point. And, it's unfortunate that he's only had one comment read, because I've had 4. I think Jen's had about 10. And Matt, who is no longer with us, he's got at least a baker's dozen.
Well, for the record, I've only submitted like 3 or 4 comments, so I don't feel too bad. But I appreciate that, Jesse.
I can chime in there, Jesse. Great segue to a topic I'd like to bring up, which is theft, because Chad,
I gave you credit.
Got that comment straight from my notes.
Wow.
I gave you credit. I said I wanted to thank this podcast.
It takes the jealousy component of that to a whole new level, I think, Jesse, because it's one thing when someone's coming up with their own jokes and you're like, man, I wish I would have said that. But it's one thing when you say it and then someone else says it and they get recognized, which
They
also
have a
happened
name
in
for that. In the
Nashville.
military, they call that stolen valor, Chad.
Yeah. Well,
Ooh.
I'll give you an example. So, Jesse, you brought up the example of geometry class, right? So, have you ever had a classmate that like wants to ask a question but is too scared to ask a question, so you have to ask it for them? I feel like that's what happened with me and Jen. So,
yeah. Again, we're talking about leadership qualities, Jen. You can't just believe you have them. You need to live by them.
It can't just be.
I don't think anyone could ever accuse me of being too scared to say anything.
Your question can't just be in the Google Docs. It needs to be submitted in a comment to Brian via email. So,
listen,
this is valid.
Don't worry, it'll never happen again.
I believe that.
Learn my lesson. You got to learn your lessons, folks.
You know, that's why pencils have erasers, because everyone makes mistakes.
Yeah.
All right. Eric T. Peterson, should we get into
Let's dive in.
Yeah, does he watch the podcast?
He does.
Yeah.
Does he?
The few, the proud, the folks.
He's the only one.
Well, he is this week because now I'm on it, so I can't be watching it.
Dang it.
You haven't commented in quite some time.
We're losing
I have.
followers.
I've had comments on every one. I just sometimes I'm watching or listening as I ride my bike, and it's hard to do this when I'm going around a corner. And then if I see a turtle, it's all over.
Yeah, that's what all of them
So
say.
a real story about bike riding. Anyone who knows bike riding knows that you clip in if you want to get more miles. Like you have these types of shoes that clip into the pedals. And as a rookie, it's pretty common that someone will clip in and then they stop and they forget they're clipped in and they're like, ah! And they fall over. Well, I haven't done that for several years until the other day. I actually stopped to photograph a snake and my right foot was clipped in. And so I slowed down to look at the snake. I had my left foot unclipped. So I was going to lean down to the left side, but I guess I must have leaned the wrong way. And my right foot was clipped in and I just totally went down with it. So, but like I said, everyone makes mistakes, especially Jen.
You can't throw yourself the other way.
Well, usually I would, but
yeah,
I mean, I've got a very strong core. For anyone who hasn't met me in person, my body type is what people call eye candy. And, you can tell that I eat a lot of candy anyway. So that's what they mean by eye candy. They're like, I eat a lot of candy. And so sometimes it's hard to control the emotion. I don't have what doctors call a runner's body.
Yeah, we can tell. So, Eric T. Peterson.
Yeah, back to Eric.
I don't know if I have a runner's body either, though, so don't be offended.
I thought we were talking about Eric now. This is not all about you, Jen.
Welcome to this segment of Just Jen.
Okay, Buff Jesus.
Chad, does she always make the whole podcast about her?
Don't you watch it?
Yeah, that's true.
I'm gonna choose not to comment on that.
Even when I address a question to Chad, she answers it for you. Quit woman-splaining us, Jen.
Number 12.
Here we go.
The Yawning of a New Age. Jumping in with alliterative title talk and Felix Mattress. Nailed that. Jen asks, what is salmonella? It's a bacteria, Jen. My comma string sentence allows me to cover your discussed topics in a quick, concise manner so my reviews aren't too long for Chad to comment about. It's for you, Chad. I giggle writing these, but I laugh hearing you read them. Ha, ha, ha. Just kidding. I added the ha, ha, ha. Well executed, especially the bit about a podcast about my reviews. Eric Land sounds like a nice place. Almost like I proposed the same thing in like one of my first reviews. I don't remember. Let's go. The bathroom candle. Genius. Toot was the term I grew up with, and no one made the butt talk buttocks comparison. A Just Jen segment. How do you say buttock without an S?
Buttock. I think maybe it could be a European thing. I was watching the Ricky Gervais new special on Netflix, and instead of saying like the word bigot is how I would say bigot, he says like bigot. So sometimes I think people just have different ways of saying things. I think that's why we have like the tall opera singer. He likes to say his name is not pronounced Pergellum, but obviously we're in America, and we invented pizza delivery. So I think we would know how to say Pergellum.
Right. Get it right. This is America. Ooh,
Texas knows what I'm talking about, right, Texas?
Yeah.
Chad, I saw you made a Texas-shaped waffle for your friend.
Mm-hmm.
I think I dreamed about a Texas-shaped waffle last night.
Well,
it looked so good.
I feel blessed and a little scared to be in your dreams, Jen, but...
Well, you weren't in it. It was just a waffle.
Well, subconsciously. So we
now I have
at Bed Bath & Beyond, you can buy a Texas-shaped waffle maker here in Texas and be like every cool hotel in the state. So...
Hotels do that? I've never seen that in my life.
I think
unless Brian Bates gets there. If Brian Bates gets there, the waffle makers go out of commission.
Yeah, it's already broken.
What do you do if you live in one of those stupid states that's just like a blob? Like it's not really, you know what I mean?
Oh, not the shape like Kansas. Yeah. In Kansas, you get like a Hershey bar and you break it in half and you're like, look, it's a Kansas shaped square
candy bar.
Rectangle.
Yeah. Or our friend Eric, who's from Iowa.
Mm-hmm.
Back to what he was saying. Dipability and queso consistency leads to Nexium, the sex cult with a branding iron.
Oh, what?
Let's just move past it. Your memories about the recent NATELAND episode were a good rehash. It was really a fun one. Nice ad for Dave Ramsey, new sponsor.
Hey.
What do you think, Chad? Ramsey Solutions?
I mean, I can give him a call, but I don't think we're going to. But by the way, that's the show that I like one day really want to have a comment read on or like be featured on is once I'm debt free.
You need to call in.
Well,
I think if we take out a big loan, we could probably afford to bring Dave Ramsey on as a guest. Do you guys think it's worth it?
That's a great idea.
We could go into debt and get Dave Ramsey.
Not doing it.
Yeah.
I'm not doing it.
I think you'd be down.
I'm not putting this podcast in financial distress.
Someone told me the other day, well, I keep trying to make money with this thing, but no one's on board. By no one's on board, I mean no one watches it.
Don't panic.
The other day, this lady told me, she's like a cleaning lady at work. Very sweet. Love her a lot. Miss Linda. And she's not watching this, so it's fine. But she said, I went and got in a little bit of debt. I never had debt before in my life. And I was like, no, like you don't try to get into debt. Like you try to get out of it. And she was like, I just wanted to see what it felt like. And I was like,
a prison.
Yeah.
She said she paid it off already. So I was like, okay, fun story, I guess.
Wow. Did I tell you guys I actually got robbed the other day at the gas station?
By an Amish guy?
No, but I wish I was there.
No, I got robbed at the gas station by pump number 3. $126 to fill up my van. Talk about going into debt.
26?
Well, it holds 28 gallons. Gas is like $5 a gallon here in Pennsylvania. And the problem is...
You said it was $26.
What's that?
You said it was $26.
$126.
Oh,
that's what I'm saying. I got robbed right at the pump.
Jesse, if you need any more inspiration to fully embrace an Amish lifestyle...
A freaking van.
Well, I'm thinking about it. I mean, the problem is I can't grow a beard. If you look like I didn't shave and I get a little bit of a Tom Selleck thing starting here, but down here there's nothing. Eventually I can get this here. Now, the nice thing is the Amish don't really need to grow any of this. If you ever notice, like if say you watch Weird Al or something, all their beards are basically down here. And I do that pretty good. So it could be the lifestyle for me.
You could.
Like this.
Yeah, a lot like that.
Yeah.
I'm Amish.
So I'll tell you a quick Amish story. Since listeners probably want to know about Amish, but I was actually I slept over at my friend's house that was Amish. It was actually his Amish sister's house, and I asked him at one point. I was like, because like his Amish sister, they drive in a horse and buggy, and they have a lot of Amishy things. They dress Amish and they do all Amish stuff. But
All right, we get it.
Okay, but here's a part that's you're going to scratch your head. At one point, I said to my friend, and I won't name him because I don't want to get any Amish people in trouble with the bishops that might be watching this podcast. I was like, how does your sister have electricity in her house? And he just sort of looked at me like real like, and he's like, some do. And he just moved on. So the whole idea that Amish aren't supposed to have electricity, well, look, I'm not going to say what county I was in. Certainly not going to say who their bishop was and draw attention to it. But like my Amish friend said,
some do.
Some do.
At 36:38, Jen yawns. Thought that was an appropriate place to jump back in after your story. Chad punching up Gaga's name took me back to put some respect on my name. Vecchione to Bates.
Yes.
Episode 70?
Yep.
The episode I took a break from to watch this. What a coinkydink. 42:13, a big yawn. He says he'll stop pointing them out. Beatboxing, toilet wine, and a very rap-centric segment.
His beatboxing was
Welcome
awful.
to Rapland,
His beatboxing was so bad.
I still love my idea for a movie where Matt goes to jail and, now Matt calls out the yawns and tells it like it is on his marriage.
That's all Jen says, though. She just loves the idea of Matt going to jail. That's it. That's all she wants to point out.
Well, I like the stuff that happens to him in jail. He gets saved. That's what I meant. Various Joes are discussed, as are SNL sketches on reunions. 47:17, Chad yawns. What gives, guys? Deep hat talk. Welcome to Hatland, folks. I don't remember any hat.
I'm sure there was.
Anyway, he's got to go get the Skippy extra chunky out of the fridge. So, thanks, Eric.
It's good stuff.
Great comment, as always.
All natural.
This guy with the props. All right, Jody is up next. She said she commented in the group, but this episode of NATELAND was awesome to her because of her life and family experiences in the grocery industry.
Oh.
She forgot that her great-grandfather was also a grocer.
Grocer.
Gross. That's how you say it? Grocer.
He was grosser than other grandpas.
I think it's.
That's what I was thinking. That's why I was like, is this how you say it?
Grocer.
He was a grocer. Grosser than what? I don't know. Hey-o. She's still trying to convince her family to watch the episode because she thinks they'd all appreciate it. She's got a few more good ones. Bringing up the Jen pantsuit again.
Yeah.
She thinks it'd have Jen across the butt. And she says, I think I got in a butt reference before I got to any in the episode. Yep. Although the bathroom topic was already discussed. As she was typing, Matt says button down, and she thought she might be lying, but nope, he said butt on, not butt. Lots of butts.
This is a highbrow comment section today.
Yeah. She closes it out with saying that instead of saying toot, her friend said crop dusted when she passed gas. She hates the phrase passing gas. She doesn't discuss it in her house either. They just ignore it, Chad.
Do you guys know the expression Dutch oven? Here in Amish country, there's a language called Pennsylvania Dutch, and so we use the expression Dutch oven a lot. Do you guys know what that means?
Yeah. I've done it to my wife a few times. Yeah.
Well, the funny thing is, so we were at a scouting event with an organization called Trail Life, and they were teaching us how to cook with these actual things called Dutch ovens. And, for me, it was hard to eat the homemade outdoor fire roasted cherry pie because I had the connotation of a Dutch oven growing up. And I didn't really want to eat anything out of a Dutch oven.
You're lost.
It's a shame.
Dutch ovens are great to cook with. I actually was trying to buy one the other day at a yard sale, but got sold out from underneath me, and that's how boring my life is.
Well, you can make your own.
Hey, a Dutch oven's a great prepper's tool, so it'd be good to have one of those.
That's great.
It is.
Yeah.
We got one more from Rusty. We haven't heard from Rusty in quite some time.
Hey, Rusty.
I think he's getting a little rusty at commenting.
Wow.
He compliments us, Jen, and then you roast him?
Yeah.
No, it's not a roast. It was a dumb joke.
And no wonder.
If anything, it was roasting myself that I even said
No
it.
wonder Matt left the show.
Hey, look, that wasn't the only reason.
Yeah.
There's a lot of stuff that happens behind these cameras you guys don't see. Okay?
Right.
Are you going to read Rusty's comment?
Sorry, I was
or
Yeah.
No. The jokes that I don't say are what are the funny.
I think the best part of the podcast is the silence.
Me too.
Yeah, I agree.
Rusty said, this episode was my favorite so far. You were all pretty loose. How loose, you may ask? As loose as an XL girdle on a small puppy dog. NATELAND just posted their 100th episode. Maybe someday you'll do the same. I don't know, Chad. What do you think?
We'll see.
Do you got 87 more of these in you?
I thought
it's a no for me.
Wasn't Chad supposed to go out for milk for 20 years in a couple weeks?
Yep. Yeah. Yep.
Why 20? Why not 18?
You gotta have some wiggle room. Yeah.
That's what my dad did, 18. So. I'm just kidding.
Are you?
All right, so new host. That's really funny how they brought it about with the blurred out.
Yeah.
I didn't even notice that until they started talking
Did
about it.
you guys notice when they blurred it out? He still had his hand up like this that you could see.
He was like waiting.
That's sort of that's his move when he goes like that and goes, "We're having a good time."
I thought that someone put that on there, edited that on there.
I don't know, but hey, the other thing I just want to remind you guys of, when we were in Nashville for the live recording, and for anyone listening who wondered, how dedicated are the hosts of this show to comedy? Well, you'll find out in a second. One of us is. So we went to the live recording in NATELAND, and then Chad and Matt, they're like, oh, well, we got to go do, blatantly Nashville type stuff. And Jen was like, oh, I love to stay and hang out with you guys, except I'm lame, so I'm going to drive home. And then me and my friend Vince, we were like, oh, well, at Zanies after NATELAND, they have live comedy. And they're like, nah, we don't want to do that. And we're like,
I wanted to stay.
Tickets are like $10. And they're like, whoa, that's way too much. And so then I was like, well, do you guys have somewhere to be? And Jen's like, literally, no. I have nowhere to be. I don't have a family. Chad is like, well, me and Matt, we don't even know where we're going. So we're just going to get in a Prius with a stranger that we met. And we're going to drive around the city.
I was driving the Prius. I was the stranger.
So anyway, me and Vince, we stay at Zadie's for New Material Monday. And we're just sitting up there eating wings or whatever cool thing we're doing. And we look over, and who's standing on the steps like 10 yards away from me? Dusty. So anyway, so we told him we're having a good time and got to see him do a set. It was pretty cool.
So fun fact, I actually had like the whole drive up to Nashville. I thought that after NATELAND was an open mic night. Like not new material. So like
why wouldn't you?
I was like running through my mind. I was okay. Like if I wanted to do like a couple minutes, like what stories would I tell? Like would I crush? And so I actually had like no, never. I thought Zanies might be my first time. I don't know. I didn't do it though. Obviously, I should have been like, hey guys, Chad Anders here. I got some new material. They're like, well, what's your old material? Like, I don't have it. But we didn't stay.
Yeah.
So because we're lame.
You should have tried out your sermon.
But that's okay because it's New Material Monday, Chad. If they had Old Material Monday, you couldn't have done it.
Jen is the Word of God comedy.
Yeah, you could have been like, yeah. Ooh, that's good. I'm going to start
Let's do it.
I stole it from you. How does it feel, Chad?
You can have it.
Okay.
It's a lot more work.
Feels normal. Okay. So, I thought it was really funny in the Facebook group. I don't know if you guys saw, some people commented and they were like, poor Aaron seemed concerned about this new addition to the podcast. Like they didn't know they were friends. What? And Aaron went on there and commented and was like, whoa, Dusty's like one of my best friends.
Oh, no.
But someone said,
weren't they in each other's
someone
weddings?
said, man, you guys are overthinking stuff. What'd you
Weren't
say?
they in each other's weddings?
Yeah.
See,
Well, I don't know if Dusty's
I feel
married.
like the people in the podcast
He
who
married
get
a
concerned
Canadian
about
girl.
this stuff, the people that get concerned about Travelgate or whatever these things are, I feel like they're the helicopter parents that just don't really know how comedy works. Like in comedy, you make fun of your friends, like you bust on each other. When someone starts busting on me, okay, I'll name drop my friend Chris Ivy. He's a really fun performer, juggler kind of person. Every once in a while, I get to do an animal show, and Chris is there doing throwing his things in the air for money, and he will make fun of me when I'm there, like in a nice way to promote my show. He'll say, "Oh, Jesse Rothacker's coming up," and then he'll make up some funny thing and make fun of me. And to me, that's an honor when another comedian, another performer makes fun of you, because you know it's out of love. And if there's someone you didn't like let's say there was a dude there that I was like, I would not want to come to their show, I just wouldn't reference it. I just move on. I wouldn't bring it up. So people got to understand, when you are making fun of each other, it's actually out of love. And yeah, and like, these guys are comedians. Do you know how thick a comedian's skin is? If your skin is not super thick and you're a comedian, you probably don't spend a lot of time in a tanning salon, but you shouldn't be a comedian.
It's 8 inches, actually. That's how thick it is.
Wow.
The skin of the comedian.
Wow. So, yeah.
Speaking of that, I went to a conference, a youth workers conference, and they, like, youth ministry.
Yes.
What? Why is your face like that?
I was bitten by snakes a few times. It just looks like this.
Okay. Anyway, so they provided actual statistics that what you're saying is true, that guys, when they make fun of each other, that's how they express their emotions and feelings. Yeah. They also do it through objects moving through space. So playing catch with someone. Oh, yeah. Bonding,
they also do it
emotional
through song.
Love.
So
you might as well be writing a poem.
So, fun story. I just turned 40. I know it's hard to tell looking at me, and when you listen to how wise I am, you'll probably think I'm 70. But I just turned 40, and my friend Sam came to my 40th birthday party, and like, I love Sam so much because we have like totally different perspectives on, like, worldview, politics, a lot of those types of things. But we always are just good friends. And when he came to my birthday party, guess what one of the things is that we did?
You played catch.
Exactly. We played catch. And yeah, so, maybe a couple other things. But it's just like, I feel like an old friend comes over, we throw a ball, and I know it's really basic. I mean, I know it's what you do to entertain dogs, but it works great. It's a nice bonding thing.
Well,
that's how I really know a guy loves me, when he's like,
hey, let's play catch.
Hey, girl, you want to go throw this ball around?
Does that happen a lot, TJ?
Mm-hmm. A lady doesn't say.
That's good.
So remember how Justin Smith shared that story about getting stuck in traffic and having to pee?
Oh, yeah.
I was on my way home from the big city last night.
And you had to pee.
And a guy pulled over on the side of the road, opened his back door, went squatted down. And I'm like, what is this guy doing? I'm thinking he's opening the door so his kid can get out and go pee or something. No. I'm like sitting there watching in that general direction, and then you just see liquid coming out from under the car. And I was like, oh, he is pulling a Justin Smith.
So we had a great story when we were in India on a missions trip, and there's like a billion or something people in India. You guys can fact check that. It's a lot of people in a really relatively small space.
I've been there.
Yeah, and so you guys know there's just so much population. Everyone is in very close proximity. A lot of the personal space that we think of in the West, they don't have. And so it's not unusual. You're driving down the road and people are peeing, whatever. I mean, I won't go into detail. You guys all can imagine it. And so anyway, we're finally at the end of the trip. We're driving back from the rural area towards the city. And the one girl in our van says, oh, I've seen enough men peeing on the side of the road for one lifetime. And then this really sweet, like 75-year-old lady, Suzanne, what she meant to say, what she was meaning to express was that she had not seen people peeing that much.
She said no.
But what she said, so the young girl says, I've seen enough men peeing on the side of the road for a lifetime. And Suzanne, the 75-year-old lady, says, oh, well, I haven't. And so everyone in the van jumped on that, and we're like, Suzanne, what would Ralph say? So that was a great
Suzanne.
story.
Like, I feel you, Suzanne. We have Suzanne on here next, so we can.
Yeah, I'll get her
chat
on next week, and maybe Ralph will come on too. He's very funny. He's a good musician, and they can talk about how they work through that.
Hey, I don't want Ralph.
I wonder if he ever had to Ralph on the side of the road.
So bad.
So what's
okay?
Next, you guys are in charge.
Nate, thank you. Finally, Jesse. It's turning into the Jesse show over here.
Just Jesse. And just to show my dominance,
I thought it was
Jesse's now muted.
Oh, come on. Jen is my favorite. I love Jen.
I unmuted him several seconds ago, so he's not even making noises.
You don't have more viewers.
Yeah.
Well,
maybe this one will spike.
Yeah. All right. So what do we do now?
Here's what we should do. We should get the picture and blur out Jesse's and post it with that thumbnail being like, who's the new host on
You can just show me like someone holding a Gila monster or something.
We struggle with turnaround time in general, Jen. I don't know if we need to be going in and doing a bunch of editing.
Oh, come on.
No, we probably should keep this moving. Are we going to try to do a 45-minute format?
Yeah, so 14 minutes on the clock.
All right.
Nate still doesn't know what Procter & Gamble is on this week's episode. That's great. Brian's still got critters. Polecats, I mean.
Yeah, polecats.
I've never heard a skunk called a
That's
polecat.
a new one for me.
Yeah.
And you're in the industry.
Nate's hiking. What?
And Jesse's in the critter industry.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. They don't call it polecats?
We didn't learn that in environmental biology.
Nate's hiking story was hilarious.
Hilarious.
I think I didn't even do that on purpose. I think it's kind of like the first time I went hiking. I drove all the way to Colorado. Just vacation, visit some friends. And I was like, I'm going to hike a mountain. Never had done it before in my life. And thankfully, I met some old folks who were going up. And I was like, these are the people that I need to be with, clearly. And I decided to run back down the mountain because I was late for something. And I got altitude sickness like nobody's business. Well, it was so bad.
Is that song about you?
And I felt like... What song?
She'll be coming around the mountain when she comes.
Yes, it is, in fact, about me. So
knew it. Thanks
for recognizing that. Didn't have to eat any people though, so that's good.
Yeah. Just half the battle when you go hiking.
Now, I did relate. I can relate to a story.
Satanic logos, Chad.
Where we do hunting, we do a lot of hunting at high elevations, and he talked about trying to see where the peak of the mountain is, where the top is, and you hit so many false peaks when you're climbing because just the angle, the direction you can see, you go, oh, I just have to get to that point. You get to that point, and then there's another point beyond it. It gets very, very hard to see it, and you understand the saying about not being able to see the forest through the trees because when you're in the middle of it, it's hard to tell what is what.
Yeah.
I mean, it's actually very,
kind of like this podcast.
Very easy to get lost.
Just like this podcast. I have like a couple hiking stories very similar to like Nate and them's. And one of them was I went hiking in Colorado with some friends. It was actually in the wintertime, which is the worst time to go hiking because we were hiking through like 6 inches of solid snow. And we thought it was going to be a quick, like 30, 45-minute hike, similar to kind of like Nate's. It ended up taking us like almost 3.5 hours. And we didn't even get to where we were hiking to because we were all so tired and it was getting dark and we were in bear country. So we had to turn around and go back. And then another story is we were hiking in. Yeah. And then
did you have you have grizzly bears at that spot, right? Not black bears, grizzlies?
They were black bears. Well, I mean, we were in Colorado, so I guess you could see a mixture of black or brown bears even. But in Big Bend National
They're
Park.
pretty diverse
Yeah.
state. They got black,
Black, brown.
Well, I mean, black bears are nothing to really worry about. They don't kill people usually. Grizzly bears, though, that's a whole other story. So my uncle, he's a licensed hunting guide. I've killed bears with him, and I mean, he's killed black bears.
Barbaric.
Well, he's killed black bears so many different ways, but he doesn't even like to hunt in grizzly country. He doesn't even like to hunt deer or moose or elk or anything in grizzly country because, grizzly. I mean, it could be a grizzly scene. They will mess you up.
Lots of grizzlies. Getting grizzly, folks. Who's surviving the apocalypse? What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, obviously I'm going to, but I see when you're in the prepper world, you have some people that they want to survive under any scenario. And so I'm sort of like, look, before I start roasting hamster, over a dumpster fire, I'm fine just climbing the stairway to heaven. So my whole opinion on surviving the apocalypse is let's be prepared. Okay, let's make some things easier than they can be. You don't need to make them harder than they need to be. A little preparation doesn't go.
My life
it isn't a bad idea. You want to have preparation A, B, C, preparation H. You want to have all the preparations, and then when it comes, you just want to be in a tight spot. And so if the world starts glowing from nuclear fallout or something like that, look, at some point, let's go to heaven. We know this earth is temporary, but in the meantime,
I think
let's make sure we have what we need.
What do you think? You think we'll be here for that? Are you guys pre-tribulation, post-tribulation? Let's get into it.
I don't know. I think when you look at the craziness that's coming right now, and I'm not going to say everything specifically that I think is crazy that's happening right now, because I know we're kind of a friendly podcast.
Please don't mention
people. We're not trying to get into issues, but there's so many crazy things that are happening. It just wouldn't surprise me if the world ended next week. It wouldn't surprise me if the world ended in a couple hundred years. I feel like anywhere in there would not surprise me. But I mean, it's only been a couple thousand years since Jesus was here. So, I mean, it's not like we've had billions and billions of years of human history. So, if it lasts another 100 years, that's not very. I mean, that's kind of a long time in the grand scheme of Jesus was only here 2,000 years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah. What do you think, Chad?
I think he's already got his 144,000. So I don't even know why we're trying anymore. So
Yeah.
No. I'm personally not a rapture guy. I don't. The rapture is actually a pretty new theology, like the 1920s, 1930s. So like, I don't think that scripture really supports fully a rapture. But I mean, worst case scenario, we're floating up in the sky one day, and I'm just like, hey guys, it's my bad. Like, sorry, I was wrong. And so I don't care either way. But I think we're
humble.
I think we're in the middle of it. We've joked a few times, our staff, like, hey, what scroll you think we're unraveling today in Revelation? And so we're just we're ready for it. I've actually ended up being on a church staff full of preppers. So now I'm amongst them as well, Jesse. So I
prepared.
I get it.
Yeah, people think being a prepper is like a crazy thing where you live in a bunker and you talk like Boomhauer from King of the Hill. But all that means is you're prepared. And so what I like to explain to people when it comes to being on the prepper spectrum, because I'm not like crazy person prepper, but I'm like, yeah, obviously prepared type of prepper. Like that's what our grandparents used to do without even knowing it was a thing. They used to have a root cellar. They used to have a harvest. They used to can so many months of things at a time. And then they would just have months of food at a time because that was normal. And why would you want to rely on, all the infrastructure that's in place that could go down in a second? Why would you want to rely on any of that?
I think it's going down right now.
Attack dog.
Where you're at?
Gotta have attack dogs.
He's yelling at the dog.
No, that was I just sing praises sometimes. So
that was actually one of the alligators.
You're like, sorry, I was speaking in tongues.
I didn't know what theology Chad was on for that. So,
so my best friend's mom is a prepper, and this is pretty wild because she was always like So this was my well-adjusted friend, like the normal friend that I was like a part of their family because I didn't have that. And so she was always the mom who was buying you stuff and super nice house on the water, new cars, always, Now she's deep in the game of prep.
Nice.
They've bought a house on a farm out in the sticks. She cans food. She dehydrates food. She stores and stocks stuff. I mean, it's insane. I have some dehydrated blood oranges she sent back with me from my last trip there to put in my tea when I'm feeling fancy. So
that's neat that they dehydrate blood oranges. I actually gave my wife a blood diamond for our anniversary. So
I don't know. You should be telling people that, Jesse.
What I love about prepping is when people think it is crazy, because everything you said there is just logical. And I think Nate and Dusty talked on this a little bit. Like it might have been Nate who said, if you just have a cabin out somewhere and it's a hobby and you go there on vacation every once in a while, like that to me, that just sounds like a normal thing to do with your family. Oh, let's go to the mountains. Let's go somewhere and relax. But it also gives you a place that you can be off the grid a little bit. So, for example, we are installing solar on our house right now. We're in the middle of it. Now, people could look at that and say, oh, you're green, you're environmentally friendly, you're whatever, or you're economical, you're trying to save money on your bill, whatever. Or
they could say, we don't care.
Or they could say you're a prepper, you're trying to get off the grid with all those things. So, bye, love. I just said goodbye to my wife. We're still in love. Oh, yes. Well, tell him that I'm doing the podcast right now. Oh, okay, that's great. So anyway,
welcome to Jesse Land.
Yeah,
welcome to Folkland.
Who are you looking at over there?
So, well, my wife was here, and then my friend Brian's here. Bike ride stuff, of course. But look, let me show you some of the things that I brought, because I want to introduce you to the non-crazy way to be a prepper. So, what we have done in our house. You're really convincing us. We've taken extreme couponing. How many of you guys have heard of extreme couponing? It's another fun show, kind of like the Prepper Show. All right, so we took extreme couponing and we sort of married it with the idea of being preppers. And so when we find things that are free,
I don't think those two things are supposed to go together, man. I don't think you could be marrying those
Amish
things.
country and reptiles aren't supposed to go together, but I'm about to show you one in just a second. That's right in front of me, an Amish reptile. And it's not even allowed to have a heat lamp. Its heat lamp is supposed to be run by candlelight.
Morally, Jesse, you're putting that reptile in a precarious situation by putting it on this podcast.
No, but look, I asked the python, I was like, how are you able to be Amish and have an electric heat lamp? And he said, some do. That's what he said. That's a callback if you guys don't know what that is in comedy terms.
Some do.
So, all right, so look at this. I'm not brand loyal. A Peter Pan, a Skippy, and of course, okay, Greg wouldn't be happy if I didn't have this. We also have Jif. You might ask yourself, why do we have 3 kinds of peanut butter? Because they're all free. That's why. We're extreme couponers. When something comes free, when there's a deal, if the limit's 30 of them, we get 30 of them. Because guess what? It's peanut butter. It says Best Buy, October 22nd, 2022. This one says,
what's your best extreme couponer tips? Like, how do you get into
that's
the game?
Another podcast, Jen. Okay, we're talking about the end of the world right now. This is June 7th, 2018.
I'm trying to get prepared,
Look, I'm just telling you right now. Supposedly, this is an expiration date, June of 2018. I'm going to show you right now. Still good. Oh, that's not good. And maybe that one we should save for the end of it. But anyway, they're going to be fine is the point. So you can find things like, maybe you're not an extreme couponer like us. You don't know how to get things for free or negative, but I'll bet you can get things, buy one, get one. You just put things on the shelf when it's a good deal. Now, a lot of people, they might be honest.
You just said you get stuff for negative?
Yeah, we do sometimes.
You mean like you get money back?
Yeah, so we do it mostly through gas deals. That's a whole other conversation. But the short version of it would be like, they might have a deal that says, oh, every one of these peanut butters you buy for $2, you get $2 back on gas. Or sometimes it might be like you get $2.12 back on gas. But most people don't use all their gas points, or, Matt does gas deals. I'm pretty sure he talked about it. Anyway.
I think, Kroger has
Yeah, so
that.
we use extreme couponing along with prepping. We sort of combine those two. Now, here's how we can use canning and hunting and those kinds of things. All right, does this look good? This probably doesn't look good, does it? That probably looks disgusting, doesn't it?
Yeah,
So,
and my screen's
okay, so for everyone who doesn't, if you're watching, you're listening, you don't know what this is Matt Organ. This is what happened to him. He and Jen got into a fight. So she took him down in her basement, and she convinced him to get into a box. She had watched that Breaking Bad show, and so she learned a little bit about chemistry, and that's what's left of that.
I got my chemicals with some coupons, folks.
So that is actually a 2019 piece of venison that we brought home from Pennsylvania, West Virginia, somewhere. And so the reason I show you this, okay, it looks super, super gross. Okay, it's the same thing as tuna fish. If you have a can of tuna fish, it doesn't really look that good, but it's actually fine. People don't realize you can't. It's not just peaches and strawberries that you can can. You can can your meat. And so the nice thing is, let's say your grocery store, your Costco, your whatever, has a sale on pork, on chicken, on all the different things that Chad would eat on his carnivore diet. You don't need room in your freezer. You take those things home. You have a pressure cooker. You can them. So now all these deer that I shot, this one was from 2019, we can eat it anytime we want. And then we throw it in the crock pot or the Dutch oven, if you're Jen, and you add a couple potatoes and carrots, and you have a delicious,
not really sure what
delicious home cooked meal.
Farting and trapping under the sheets has to do with this, Jesse.
Don't panic, Jen. Just don't panic.
All right. Well, this has been great. Are you going to start taking people, like, how to do this? You can probably make some money doing that.
Look, that's a whole other episode. But I'm not even done yet.
Look, I'm real concerned that you keep saying we're going to push this to later episodes when we talked about we probably won't have later episodes.
Well, the end of the world could happen this week. Look, we don't know that. But another thing you should know is if you're thinking about growing your own food, probably one of the now. Why did she leave? Did you turn her off?
Just keep going.
Okay.
I'm still here.
Oh, that's good.
You can't get rid of me.
All right. That's unfortunate. So a lot of people think about growing their own food, and they're going to have tomatoes and strawberries and whatnot. That's fine.
Hey, my best friend's mom does that too.
I think
we also grow our own food.
The best food you can grow is chickens, because chickens lay eggs, or at least half of them do. The boys not so much.
Not vegetables though.
Vegetables don't usually lay eggs. But
speaking of chickens, remember that podcast that this is supposed to be about? That lady who painted the
eggs,
Christ, Jesus, and then shoved it back up the chicken.
Well, look, I just want to bring something up they should have brought up on the podcast. So if you have hens because you're trying to make your own eggs for the end of the world, that's good. But imagine a bird flu comes through, wipes out all the chickens. Well, guess what? Now you count your chickens before they hatch. You're out of luck. So let me show you what we do here at the reptile sanctuary. Right. We
apparently people are attacking Jesse
to develop our eggs without involving chickens. So you can see what we have here. Nice little Australian python. And look what she's sitting on. She might bite me. I don't know. Fine. So you can see, look at that. Isn't that cool, guys? So this python.
Those are eggs?
Yeah, well, these are her eggs. And this way, if all
you eat them?
Well, if you want, I don't know. I mean, how hungry are you? The point is, imagine a wild bird flu comes through, takes out every chicken in the world. You don't know. It could happen. I mean, just a couple of years ago, we had Kmart and Sears. They're gone. But what if that happened? She loses her eggs. All your chickens lose their eggs. You want to make sure that you have a plan. That's why we have a python. Or multiple pythons, and they will lay several eggs at a time. Think about it. Chicken only lays one egg at a time. Lame. Have you ever been satisfied with one egg, even on the carnivore diet? No. These guys lay 20, 30, 50 eggs at a time. So
how many?
That's what I'm going to recommend, everyone.
So, this is the real question. Have you eaten them?
How do you do what?
Have you eaten the eggs?
Oh, yeah. We eat all kinds of things all the time. So the point is...
No. Just a yes or no. Do you eat those eggs?
You got to have a plan, and then you got to have a contingency plan. It's all about the contingency.
So you don't eat the eggs. You've never eaten a snake egg.
We've eaten iguana eggs, but we actually usually just let the python eggs go. But they are a backup plan. That's the point, Jen. You don't want to waste all your plans.
I was waiting for her to, hey... The Lord says you shouldn't have any backup plans.
Look,
I don't know where he says that, but
we have pythons. They lay tons of eggs. Typically, they're not fertile. We're not trying to breed reptiles. So we get so many different eggs and so many different species. So if a new bird virus comes through, wipes out all the chickens, I'm just saying we are okay. We're still having all
It's happening right now.
To bite you.
And I'm not, my eggs over my hammy sandwiches are at no risk from a new bird flu.
I don't even know what you just said. All right. New Zealand is the size of 100 Rhode Islands, in case you guys were curious to know.
And New Zealand doesn't have snakes, so I feel bad for them. If the birds die in New Zealand, they are not having breakfast burritos.
We'll just eat each other.
Yeah.
You know?
They have that.
That's the New Zealand way.
Do you guys have any crazy theories about Wi-Fi? I bet Jesse does.
Oh yeah, I'm sure when you put your stuff out there, it puts you at higher risk. For me, it's a trade-off. You're like, okay, what benefit am I going to get for this risk? So you could have no Wi-Fi.
Everybody's doing it.
You could have no anything, and you're losing a lot from doing that. So for me, I think there's a benefit to scrolling Babylon Bee on Instagram, even if my identity gets stolen by someone in Kazakhstan.
Same.
Yeah. The other day, my friend got like a pop-up. It said Windows is, your computer's been compromised, and it like starts talking to you through your computer. And she was like, oh, she was calling the number it gave. Well, apparently that's like how they get you to get your credit card number. They'll be like, oh, you have a virus. We've got to remove it. Give us your information. I can't believe she almost fell for it. You guys ever been tricked like that? Not Jesse, because he's gone, but
I have not been tricked like that. No, it's happened quite a few times, but
I got a call just the other day. I mean, just the other week that was saying, "Oh, someone from such and such community bank is calling that your card was used at a Walmart in Texas," and I don't know how they got what information. They didn't have a lot of my personal information, but they had my name and they knew what bank account or what local bank we use. And it wasn't like Bank America or Wells Fargo. It wasn't like some big national thing. It was a local one that's only in this area.
It was Doomsday Preppers Credit Union.
Yeah, that's what. How do you go there anyway? So they knew what it was, and they had enough specifics. And I want to say somewhat informed on this stuff, so I'm not just going to give up the whole ranch for no reason. So I went on the phone with them for about 10 minutes to see if they could verify it. And they will invest a lot of time going through this with you. And still at the end, it wasn't a real person. So I'm like, I mean, it wasn't a person in front of me, and my bank is just down the road. So I was like, this was a Sunday. They call on the weekends because they know your branch is closed and you can't check with your branch. So I was like, well, I'll just go to my branch tomorrow and I'll talk to them about it. And that's when they like kind of panic and they try to throw a Hail Mary and get you to give more information. But yeah,
your branch doesn't know about this.
Yeah.
Have you ever messed with those people? I really love to do that.
I did do that once with someone trying to sell me a magazine subscription. And I didn't, I get annoyed at telemarketer calls. So they were telling me this magazine subscription. I was asking like I was going to go along with it. And then I was like, oh yeah, no.
Chad, you playing catch?
At the end, I was just like, you do have these magazines in Braille, don't you? And then they said no. And then I was like accusing them of discrimination. I made up the story of how I lost my eyesight when I was 7 years old and how it's not fair that magazines don't
great.
in Braille.
That's grade A material.
That's pretty funny.
Yeah.
So I didn't know what the doomsday clock was, and I just looked it up, and I wish I never had, because apparently the world's about to end. So
that's a shame.
Gonna keep reading my Bible. Mm-hmm. Probably never look at this again.
It's the best-selling book in the world.
Jen, which website did you go to?
It is pretty great. I just Googled doomsday clock, and I clicked on the first one, and it said it's 100 seconds to midnight, and it said January 2022 on Doom's doorstep. And I was like, that's enough for me. So what do you guys think about a sperm bank on the moon?
Jen, this is a clean podcast. I don't think we should.
God created it.
Their bit though about like how if there's a sperm bank on the moon, then
Jesse, you can't eat on here.
Well, normally I wouldn't, but this isn't actually regular peanut butter. This is pepper butter. And so I just want you guys to know it is safe.
Preparation aged butter?
I mean, this is like already 2-3 years out of date, and I'm going to eat it just to see if I turn into Mad Organ.
All right, you eat that. We're going to keep talking about sperm. Go ahead, Chad.
Yeah. So, to Jesse's point, no, when they made the joke about the moon with the sperm bank crashing into the earth, like how
it's everywhere.
the rest that would be, yeah. What is this? You don't want to know. You don't want to know.
That was very funny.
All right. Well,
I think the one thing they were right about is like, why do you want to have instructions about this is exactly how our world was? Well, that didn't work out very well for you guys. If you guys all blew up, why don't we want to recreate your?
It's true.
Well, it's like history class. You don't want to make the same mistakes that we made in the past. So maybe it's the books.
They should hire
I don't understand why people would want to move to Mars or something like that. Because if you're moving to a world that is, say, 1 million times worse than what we experience at our best here on Earth, like, why would you want to do that? Why would you not, like, what's the benefit? Why would you not just want to be like, well, we had a good run. Let's go to heaven.
Yeah.
Fresh start, you know?
Well, the worst day on Earth is 1 million times better than the best day on Mars. I can promise you that. Right.
That's why I ain't trying to go. I mean, I've seen Matt Damon. He had to make potatoes out of his own poop. That wasn't a very good experience.
Did you just spoil The Martian for me? I haven't seen that.
Yeah, I haven't seen it either.
Well, it's sort of spoiled itself, to be fair.
Well, I wouldn't know about the poop.
Well, now you know.
Unbelievable.
Oh.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, spoiler alert. Sorry, that was about a minute late.
Inconceivable.
It's like most things on this podcast.
Well,
I think the ending of this is a minute late. So thanks for sharing your crazy stuff with us, Jesse.
Yes.
You know?
Yep. If you guys have any crazy prepper questions, either talk to me or talk to Jen's best friend's mom, and we will assume you're an FBI agent, and we will not tell you anything.
Or they'll kill you. And
that must be why you didn't share much.
They'll turn you into organs that they'll cook later.
You'll get turned into Mad Organ in a jar.
Oh, hey, at least we always have that threat for Matt. If he steps out of line again, turn you into a jar of organs.
Literally.
All right, folks.
Let's go.
We're going to let it go.
So long, folks. Oh, wait. Come see us on Forgotten Friend Reptile TV.
There you go.
This is not a Jesse Rothacker commercial.
No, that's
bro.
If they want to experience more of our YouTubing.
Oh, yeah. Hey, Jen,
you got shows coming up?
Do you have any shows coming up?
I do. I'm going to be Cinderella today for 4 hours.
Oh, nice.
At Line Creek. You can check that out. Please don't, though. Please don't come find me. I'd be very uncomfortable with that.
Yeah, so
also, you'll be seeing this 2 days after I'm there, so maybe do come find me.
I actually do have a ton of shows coming up. We had 45 shows this month in May, and then it only gets busier June and July and August. So if you guys want to come out and see some more reptile stuff, we don't really talk about prepping. We just talk about reptile fun. Visit ForgottenFriend.org. That's ForgottenFriend.org. And go right to our event calendar and come out and see us at an event. Unless it's like an event at a school, then don't do that because you're not allowed in there and you'll get arrested. But if it's at like a library or park or something like that, come out and see us at those community events.
Do you ever burn out from doing 45 shows?
Oh, dude, yeah, big time. So, like, I had my last 6 shows were awesome, where I just had one grade at a time and the kids were awesome. Like I could do that all day. It is super fun. It's very exhausting still at the end of the day. But then when you go to shows and they're really bad, like we were at a show, I won't mention the school, but they had like 300 kids in the gymnasium, all different ages. The teachers would not get the kids to be quiet. It just was like pandemonium where you're just like, okay, let's try to be done with this as fast as we can.
And Jesse's there like, These kids, they don't get it. This is art.
This is art. I know. Yeah, I'm like the guy from Office Space who's like, I'm a people person. I understand people. What is wrong with you people?
You impressions bring that out in the last 30 seconds of the.
I try to save the best for last, and if I don't have that, I try to save the mediocrest for last.
That's good.
I kind of think of you more like Job from Arrested Development.
I don't watch that kind of stuff. I'm a Christian.
But you watch Office Space. Okay. Just glad we knew our boundaries.
That's a fair point. Yeah.
That was before I was a Christian.
Doesn't count. It's covered by the
That
blood.
was like Chad's story when he met that famous Yankee player.
Yeah.
Jeter.
Yeah.
What the?
No way. There's no way he's in there.
I don't give an F.
No. Yeah.
Or an H.
Yeah.
Or a P.
Preparation H. Anyway.
All right.
Speaking of P, gotta go. See you later, folks.
Leave some comments. How do you like the new fill-in host? Leave some comments. Tell us how you went.
We all know you like it.
Tell me what your favorite reptile egg is. If you don't like python eggs, tell me if you like turtle eggs, iguana eggs. Leave some comments. We want to hear from you guys. Thanks.
Let's go.
All right. Let's go.
Let's go.